So we have a ritual question that we ask every guest we have in this festival. We ask them their own definition of the word strange.
My definition of the word strange. Oh man, I've been called strange by so many different people that and I don't feel I'm strange, that the word has come to have almost no meaning for me at all. But I've always liked, there's an expression in English about making strange. Talk about a baby making strange with someone. It's when a baby that should be otherwise comfortable in someone's arms because they're being held wonderfully, just for some reason makes strange. There's some vibe a baby picks up from a person. And so maybe to make strange would have, the idea of making strange would have to influence my definition of the word strange. It would mean to queer, to skew, to alienate, to frighten. In other words, it's probably, surely someone's defined it this way, it's just strange means normal. It's normal to be frightened and wary and uncomfortable.
I can't remember. I was in the forest. I saw a woman.
It seems that my movies talk about movies, or talk to the viewers in such a way that they feel they're being talked to about movies. But I'm just a kid making these things. I made a promise to myself when I first picked up a camera that I would not bore everybody on my film set. Film shoots are so slow and alienating. A visitor to a film set can't even tell who the director is or who the actors are. Everyone just seems to be texting each other and adjusting their headsets all the time. I vowed that the film set would be quick and full of rapid, instinctive decisions. And that was all based on just watching my daughter make art when she was 4 years old. I loved the way she would make a masterpiece in under a minute. Just done. And paternal tears squirting out of my eyes at how beautiful it was. And I just liked her instincts. She's still a great artist, actually. And I loved her instincts then. She's got a couple of daughters, 7 and 4, and they're great artists. And they work the same way I make film, just instinctively. And I'm using for my materials a lot of tropes, a lot of conventions, and then a lot of new things that I accidentally slop out the way my little girls did and do. So I use the same box of crayons and the same hasty, sloppy way of working as my girls, and but it comes out feeling, because now my medium is all this material from that once was but since been lost. It seems to be talking about it, but I'm just using it. I'm not talking about it.
4 men in the forest trying to rescue a kidnapped woman.
Well, I've never been very good at thinking about my career, planning a career, but around 2011, just 6 months before we started shooting, I found myself here. I had some collages I'd made at La Maison Rouge, an art gallery here, and I went to visit my old friends in the film department at the Centre Pompidou, the curators Sylvie Prat, Amélie Galli, and Bernard Blestin. And I just told them that it was my wildest dream to shoot movies in the Centre Pompidou in public. And it turns out they had 3 weeks open in their calendar, just a few months away, and I could have it. And so within 3 to 5 minutes, we were shaking hands on a deal, and I had a show, an installation, a movie shoot in the Centre Pompidou. I admit there was something calculating about it because I'd started with collage work and was starting with installation work a little bit. I did want to get my foot in the door of a major art institution, but I didn't really expect to, and I don't know what it brought me or anything, but it was great to work with my friends there again. They were very kind to me in 2009 with the retrospective at the Pompidou, and it was a chance to work with them again and to make them angry because filmmaking is so messy, and we took this beautiful institution and we just made a big film set mess in there. And Bernard every now and then would come down. He became my father by the end of the shoot and started scolding me for not making my bed and for not picking up my socks and underwear off the floor and things like that. It was really fun. And since then I've been in some other institutions and I've developed a relationship with MoMA that I hope turns into something in New York. I don't know, we'll see. But all of a sudden I feel like I'm an outsider with all sorts of unlikely connections with the inside, and it's without particularly the success to go with it. So I occupy a really strange space.
Come and join us. This is an emergency. They have Margot, and who knows what they're doing to her. We must put aside all the dirty tricks we've been happy to play to each other and work together.
I showed up in Paris in 2012, convinced I would have to cast from Facebook. I had made all the friends I could that lived on Facebook, that lived in Paris, just figuring maybe I can tap into an acting community somehow. And when I showed up here, one of my producers, F.P. Clavel from Kidam, had secured the services of a really wondrous man, a former first AD and casting agent named Alexander Nazarian. And he really knows the acting community here. He knows which actors would be up for an adventure like this, acting in public for very little money. Why should anyone be up for that kind of adventure? I don't know. I was very moved when the cast came on board because they were just doing it for fun and with someone they didn't know. And so I was thrilled, and I owe an enormous debt to Alexander Nazarian. I just didn't know the acting community here. And I did meet some nice people on Facebook, and they remain my Facebook friends, but they didn't get into the movie, alas. And to work with a French crew, and to work with mostly French actors, just a couple of people I brought in, Udo Kier and Geraldine Chaplin and Amira Kazar I brought in from elsewhere, but everyone else was from Paris, and wow, it was so crazy. And I promised myself on set that whatever language I spoke, it just couldn't be English. And so I spoke something that was not English to the crew, and it was a little bit French, but with a hideous accent. Just an almost obscenely, aggressively hideous accent. And then some high school Latin got in there, and some Spanish, and the few Cree words I know from North America, and then some slang from old Bowery Boys movies and things like that, but just not English, just not the Queen's English. And so, but I just remember watching looks of disgust and horror and PTSD vibration almost rippling across the crew faces whenever I made a request. And when I got on the plane to go back home after the shoot was over, I just felt like all of France was trembling in its language trauma because of the 3 weeks I spent speaking to people in there, supposedly what was left of their language. It was meant to be, and still will be, an internet interactive project where anyone online can visit our website and have a séance de spiritisme with the spirits of lost cinema. And I really wanted an internet project because I was so inspired by the great job Aide Distribution do here at getting every possible potential Guy Maddin fan into the theaters to watch my movies. It's amazing. But then once I started living on the internet at the turn of the century, I realized that things go viral so quickly, and that the internet could do the work, the hard work that Fabrice and Manuel did in promoting my films over the years. It can just happen in a second. So I wanted to try making, if you're lucky, so I wanted to try making some internet art just to see if I could get out there. Unfortunately, there isn't funding for internet art like there is for film making in Canada, the state funding. And so there was a practical incentive to making a feature film. And the more I started thinking of the practical incentive, because this internet art I'm making is still just filmmaking, so it's expensive, and I needed some state funding. So we decided to make a feature film version of it, but it wasn't like we were just making it to get some money. We soon became obsessed with it, at tightening the scripts, tightening the screws on the edit until the feature film was as good as possible. And we forgot to work on the internet project for so long that I can barely remember it now. But now that The Forbidden Room is finished, I can go back to finishing the Séance de Spiritisme for the website. They really are meant to be companion pieces. They help each other in the world, theoretically, and they should both stand. They're like twins in a way. One of the twins is really good with money. The other twin is really eccentric and unpredictable, and we don't know what to expect from him yet.
Our master passion you've laid into me, while I observe there goes 1, 2, and 3. So many walking the streets endlessly, another derriere, another derriere.
I thought it through, and I didn't want to just imitate film artifacting. It's a digital project. It's a project that was generated for the internet, and it couldn't exist without digital technology. And that's the way we watch movies now a lot, anyway, not exclusively, but more and more, and eventually entirely digitally. And I just think there's still filmic ghosts that make their way to us and haunt us, but they just have to go through some sort of digital corridor to get to us now. So I was perfectly happy to have a digital film hybrid in its visual vocabulary. What's next is the internet version of it, and there the digital artifacting will be really aggressive. The seances, the various spirits of the film world interrupt each other a lot, and the way they interrupt each other involves a lot of data moshing and even interruptions from YouTube cat videos and things like that. There will just be just other people's websites will even interrupt and take part in and interact with Mathieu Amalric and Charlotte Rampling and Adele Haenel.
A little bit off the chop, a little bit off the chop, a little bit off the chop.